Hi, I'm Tinny from minibulldesign, and today, right now, I'm up in the studio and just going to settle in here and read for, maybe a couple hours. Depends. It's been a long day. I got up this morning, went out and built a fire up. It was pretty warm out. I think it must have been high 30s. And went to building. Beth brought me out a list of things we needed. So I got those for her. That wasn't too bad. I had most everything in stock, but when I got done, I didn't have much stock left. My lid blanks are all gone, and the big gulps are all gone, and the dome tops are pretty near gone, and it's starting to get a little sparse out there, so I've got to start building inventory again. I've kind of been working on the inventory that I built a while back. I had a building wave, and I built a lot of inventory, but it's starting to wear through it now. Then at 9:30, I came in, took a shower, put on clean clothes, my Sunday best, and went to Bucksport, which is 45 miles away. And it was raining and the roads were icy, was foggy, not a good trip. Went to the CPA and got all my ducks in a row there, got my minutes done on my corporation and everything else. And got an education from him on what to do, where, and all that. And it came out very well. I did well this year. Then we drove 45 miles back home again in the fog and the rain and all that. And Beth and I went out to ship. Now we cleaned up the 15 orders that she had from yesterday, and we shipped all the K-cabs except one, and I'm having a hard time hooking up with that person. They haven't paid yet. I sent them an email telling them that I had one available, and I haven't gotten back to me yet. They're probably busy. So there's one I'm waiting on. But Jerry and all you other guys, your cabs went out today. And all the stuff that went along with them. I made sure I got that all shipped out. And while we were doing that, 5 more orders came in. And we decided to leave off there because we were both pretty burned out from doing, around 20 orders. Fairly complicated. So we'll leave what came in today until tomorrow. We didn't want to try to be too heroic. So enough about that. I got my roll of carbon felt yesterday. And that's up in the carbon felt loft ready to go. I've almost finished the other roll. And I'm waiting on vials and silicone tubing and wick and all kinds of stuff that I've ordered that hasn't come in yet. Now, during this whole episode, every now and then you just have to stop and think about the past. Now, when I started this whole thing, when I started minibulldesign and the website, I had some people say things to me like, well, yeah, you're selling stuff now, but we both know that's not going to last. That was 10 years ago. And the business has grown every year. It's become a bit of a monster now. It's a little bit more than I can handle, really. I shouldn't be doing as much business as I am. Really got no right to. Just at my age, I really have a hard time keeping up and keeping everything straight. I've had people back when I retired, after I'd been running the business for a little while and working, a lot like Robbie is now. He's trying to run a alcohol stove business and work at the same time. I don't envy him on that. I was doing the same thing. And when I got ready to retire, people said, well, what are you going to do when you retire? You can only watch just so much TV and go for just so many walks. You're not going to have any money to do anything. So, what do you want to retire at 54 for? So, things like that, I look back on that, and they couldn't have been more wrong. I guess they thought that I was just going to just go for walks, watch TV, and just let the world go by. I guess they didn't know me very well, did they? And, you know, and the people would say, well, you know, you're selling some soda can stoves. But we both know that's not going to last. Well, it probably wouldn't have if I just stayed with my product line, but I've invented a lot of stuff over the years. Lots of stuff. For example, I think 1 or 2 days ago, a gentleman emailed me and asked me if I would make him a choke hazard. Well, I don't like making those old products because most of them are overweight and out of date. But the choke hazard has a cult following, and there's a lot of people that have an original choke hazard or a choke hazard 2, and that's their go-to stove. I mean, a lot of people use them with a canteen cup, and a lot of people use them for their main stove. So anyway, he explained. He apologized. He knew I didn't want to make another one, but he told me that his whole cooking kit was built around the choke hazard, and you'll see why when I get done. And unfortunately, when he was hiking, he left it at camp one time and hiked to the next shelter or whatever. And when he got there, he didn't have his stove. He lost it. Gone. And I don't sell them anymore, so pretty darn hard to replace. So he kind of hit a chord with me. I could understand that. That would be a loss. If I had a stove that I liked that well and I left it in a shelter somewhere or lost it somewhere on the trail, well, that'd be tough. So I took pity on him. Now, the comical part about it is I didn't know what model. I guess it was a long time ago, but I made several different models of that. And so I asked him what it looked like, and he did a very good job of explaining to me exactly how it was built. And it was one of the ones that had the pylon in the center with the nipple, and then the carbon felt right from the bottom to the very top. So, and then it had a nipple right in the bottom and a 4 1/8 ounce nipple cap. So when you squeezed the bottle, the alcohol went into the big nipple and went through the bottom and on a 90-degree angle went up through the nipple. And because the nipple sticks up almost, 3/4 of the way up on the alcohol would go up and run into the bottom. When you let off the bottle, because the nipple was like a snorkel, it was up so high that all the alcohol below the nipple stayed in there. So it would burn much longer than one that when you let it off, it pulled all the pooled alcohol out. Probably a pretty good stove. So that's what I built for him today. It took me a little while to make one. I didn't have the tooling anymore to really do it, but I got through it. I had a thin boring bar, and between that I had to grind another boring bar a little bit. But I got it done and got a pretty good looking stove and put the 3 pieces of carbon felt with a hole in the bottom and then 2 solid pieces on top of the nipple, and put the large fuel line on it and a 4 1/8 ounce nipple cap, and I threw in a heat bottle nipple cap with a large nipple just because I think that's something he could probably use. Be a neat thing to have with that stove. And that was the last stove we shipped today. We shipped that out. I went out and got it, brought it in. I told Beth, I said, I'd like to get this one off the books and ship this one. So we shipped it out today. The gentleman paid me for it, PayPal, no problem. Now, let me touch on the last thing I'm going to talk about because this video is getting long. The K-Cab, the home cooking system. I told you in the last video that I really misjudged how much work there was to them. When I actually sat down and started building them right from scratch, I didn't really realize, so I really priced them wrong. Anybody that got one for $100, they'll tell you, they got an awful lot of technology for a small amount of money. $100 is a lot of money, but that's a lot of stove. So my choice was 2 things. I could either keep making them and not feel good about it, just every time I make one go, man, you know, I should be getting more for that. Or more likable for me because I sell so many stoves. I don't have to make those if I don't want to. I can make other stoves and sell everything I make. So the only reason I'm making those is because it's a really, you'll see when you get one, it's a really nice stove. And if you're one of those people that cooks on a bench, a picnic table, or right on your bench in your workspace, it's a real nice home base. the main body is heavy enough so it sets right there. And because it's got the silicone neck on it, you can put anything for a top on it. You can experiment with it. You can use anything, any of my tops. Any of my bottom feed tops you can put on it and run. Right from a Bongo original right up to the top that goes on it, the great big top. You can run a crazy hot top or a turbo top or M5 top, anything. And it's got a really big base with a really deep cavity in it to catch any alcohol from any of my tops, including the one that comes on it. It'll catch alcohol. It'll catch like a quarter of a cup. I mean, it's got a big reservoir on it, so you don't have to worry about getting in trouble. Now, on the very first one, I milled in and put the nipple right in flush, but I found that because it's a home model, you're not carrying it in your pack, it doesn't need to be that compact, and I found it rather difficult to put the large fuel line on the nipple in that indentation. It's kind of a hard place to get into, so I put the nipples right out where you could get at them, where they're really easy, with a large fuel line. And with the large fuel line, which I also put on the heat bottle remotes, it flows really good. It's fairly responsive. When you pick the heat bottle remote up, you get alcohol pretty darn fast. That big line flows pretty fast. It's pretty responsive. So anyway, I decided, rather than to just beat myself up every time I made them and not really promote them because I really didn't want to sell them because there was no profit in them, to sell them where I was comfortable and I felt good about the profit margin on them. And so, yeah, they're going to be more expensive. And my thought on that is, if it's too expensive and people can't afford it, or they don't think it's a good value, the people are intelligent, they just won't buy it. I've had one person already tell me that it was too expensive, and they're not going to buy one. That's fine. And if I don't sell any, we'll just forget that design and move back to the lesser stoves. See, what I'm trying to do here is I'm kind of testing new ground. There's been some really nice stoves that I haven't built because they were too complicated and they'd be too expensive, and I didn't think people would buy them. So I've kind of put that thought train aside, and I'm experimenting now. I'm making more complicated stoves that are much more expensive because they take a long time to make and they've got a lot of material in them and a lot of details, and I'm charging what I should comfortably to make a comfortable profit. And I'm testing the water. If they don't sell, then I'll know, no, I can't make the complicated stoves because people just can't afford them. But if they do sell, and I think this is going to be a niche market to just certain people that are going to buy that stove, and that can afford it, and there's other people that are going to want it and can't afford it. But as they get out there, they'll be used once for sale, and I may do I think I've got enough stoves right now to do 3 proto boxes, and there'll be some stoves in that. Maybe one of those will be in there, probably. So, you know, I should put those together pretty soon because it's really starting to pile up. So, I think that's everything I want to say for this video. I'm Tinny from minibulldesign. Get out and hike, take a friend, enjoy the great outdoors, and more important than anything, try to have a really great day, and try to take some time out to have just a little bit of fun today. You know, maybe cook a meal on your alcohol stove, or go for a walk, or read a good book, or just tell your wife you love her. That's always kind of fun. She'll like it. Bye-bye.